Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of TalktoTat. Real people, real talk, real life. So thank you for tuning in with me today. I do want to first thank God and everybody who supports me, because I wouldn't be able to sit up here and have these conversations so candidly without knowing that it's not going to go to a good place. So I know that people take the messages that I say and the information that I share, and they actually apply it to make themselves better. And that helps me as well. You got to keep the knowledge going. You got to keep things circulating. So yes, into this episode, I would like to talk about how life be lifing. It do. That's my whole little phrase that I was using in 2023. So life be lifing, coping with adulting. That's a real, it's almost like it's an epidemic now, right? It's like when you talk to people in public and you ask them, oh, how are you doing? You're like, life be lifing. Or when you're at, vice versa, it's like adulting, so I definitely want to touch bases on that, because it is very prevalent in what's going on in today's society, and it shows up in a lot of ways for different people. So just to be able to, hey y'all, superstar go, you can't be, this is Layla again, because what I'm doing with this, so that y'all are aware, I'm recording this via video for my channel, but I'm also using the audio for my podcast. So for those of y'all that are just listening and you're not watching, just know I'm going to be making a lot of references to my to my dog, who pops into the camera a lot. So if you're not watching the YouTube version, then just know when I'm talking to something that seems like it's not responding like human wise, it's my dog. It's Layla. So yes, hi Layla. She's gonna have to disappear in a second because it's about me. Okay, but anyway, and to delve deeper into adulting, I want to hyper focus on stress, loneliness, and change. Those are going to be the three big topics that I would like to go over with on this episode. So as far as stress is concerned, and we all know stress kills, it leads to a lot of physical, mental, emotional, situational issues that can not only affect you, but it can affect your family. And stress can show up in a lot of ways for those of us who are either within the past 10 years have graduated college, or a major event has happened in your life, or you're just going through a transition that is compromising your well-being. And when that stress shows up, it can lead to a lot of outcomes that can put you in the mindset of, okay, I don't know what to do next, or I'm tired of what's next, or I need a break. Instead of me breaking down, I need a breakthrough, right? So when it comes to stress and something shows up, I know I can only speak on behalf of being a female and an African American and someone from Chicago. We tackle it head on. But if it's too much, there's this shutdown mentality that we have, and that shutdown mentality shows up in different ways. It can show up where we literally on mute, or it could show up as I'm only gonna have tunnel vision, so whatever my goal is, that's what matters. Everything else on my peripheral is obsolete, or it could be a shutdown where it's categorized, like it's almost like fasting in a sense, where I'm gonna shut down on going out and spending money, and I'm gonna do everything else that I want to do. Like, it's more targeted, when we have that shutdown mentality. So that's one response that we tend to have, or that I know for sure I tend to have, that I'm working through. And then another aspect to stress is the change in your emotions. Dudes say that women are very moody and emotional. Y'all are too. Y'all have y'all moments where y'all be acting like little princesses throwing tantrums. So don't get it twisted. The shoe fits on the other side as well. Okay? And because it's so heavy in today's society, like I did some research, everyone between the ages of 18 to 33 is reported to have the highest level of stress in the United States. And that's a big thing. Like, I'm still in that range. I'm not even 32 yet. My birthday's in a couple weeks. Woo, 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 woo. Shout out to the Aquarians out there. We popping. So with that being said, because there is a significant amount of us and because we're more expressive with it, it seems like it's more in the forefront. It seems like it's a lot more relatable and openly discussed because we have something to say. Like that's another response too to stress, is being communicative. I know that when I reached the epitome of my stress, I went and sought professional help. I wanted to get a therapist, an accountability partner, because I know what governs my life. I know that I am the person to govern my life, but sometimes having that voice or having a guided professional to kind of keep you on track and hold you accountable and help you while you facilitate your own change is very necessary, especially when you feel like there's people in your life that either won't listen or they're quick to judge or make certain comments, and it's like, that's not what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's needed, but it's like, just ask first or whatever. But you know your people, so you know if you divulge something to them, what that's going to come with. And if you don't look forward to that, you switch up. We all do it. So that's another thing that shows up, is being openly communicative. Another thing that shows up with stress, and again, these are just things that I know that I have been experiencing, that I've overcome, and that I've witnessed. So another thing that shows up is irrational or unfavorable behavior, whether that be retail therapy. Do that all the time. Like me and Amazon, we should definitely go in business together. Violent behavior, whether that's throwing things or fighting other people, being verbally abusive, XYZ, you name it. Stress, when that pressure builds up on you and boggles you down, you erupt like a volcano and you bringing the whole world with you. It's like, yeah, get out of my way, but the beauty about stress, and to me there is beauty in that, it's kind of like that diamond system where you have so much pressure, so much heat, and then a good thing comes out of it. You got that diamond. And some people do that. That's a point that I have shifted to as of the past, I would say, like 6 months to a year. That has been, not to say that I've just been violent this whole time, but if anyone knows me intimately, they know like Tat's a firecracker, and my responses are different now. And that goes back to what I was talking about in my previous episode of getting over my first year of grief after losing my father, is that I had to do a lot of self-examination. Those internal evaluations and learning how to regulate your emotions so that you can not only better understand yourself, but better coexist in your environment. It helps. It makes a lot of sense. It works. So by me doing those things, utilizing those tools, instead of me resulting to an unfavorable act based on my stressor, I turn it into something. Now, do I get it right every time? No, I'm still human. You're still human and you're healing. However, I do see a big difference. So when I'm stressed out, the first thing I do, I talk to the Lord. If anyone's not religious, that part's not going to work for you, but this works for me, and I'm going to keep using it. I talk to God first. That's something that I've been taught. That's my upbringing. Give it to God first. He can handle more than we can. And he's also not going to put more on us than we can handle. It's just our mindset. That's a very powerful thing. So what I have been doing that has been working for me, after I pray, I'm a writer. Like I, at one point, had my whole apartment decorated in sticky notes. You see a sticky note right there. Actually, that's kind of funny because that's reminded me to get a cover over my peephole. So I write things down, whether that, like, I have a journal for everything. I have a business journal, I have a personal journal, and then I have a notepad, especially one that I keep by my bed because I'm an Aquarius. My mind never sleeps. So whenever a thought comes to my head, so I won't forget that good, juicy detail, I write it down. And that's been a big thing to help for me as well. On top of that, what helps with my stress, surrounding myself around things that are familiar, that brings me joy, like Layla, like my best friends, like my mother, like any of my relatives, or doing things that I like, getting back into doing art, doing these episodes, like actually being able to communicate and share what I have overcome or what I am transitioning through, because it's a message that can help somebody else. I would recommend doing those things, or whatever works for you. I use the amalgamation of it all because depending on what is stressing me out in that moment determines what I need to use at that time. Everything that you have, your equipment, your tools, you can have them all and keep them in a lockbox ready for when they're used. You don't have to bring them all to battle show them out in battle the whole time. Leave them in the armory, you know, so that it's there when you need it. Because sometimes your tools need to get buffed again. It needs to get, you know, like tweaked and fine-tuned so that they could continue to work for you. So as far as stress too, because of the age range that I'm in, the way that we handle stress can come off as a lot more erratic or emotional, not as level-headed. Granted, I'm not in my 20s no more, so those of us who are not in our 20s, that sense of entitlement that most people tend to characterize those in their 20s with, that sense of entitlement has pretty much dissipated. It's more so like, I'm ready to earn. Like that grit is coming, you know, like I want to earn this. I want this to show up for me. I know more of what I want, what my end game is, and I'm setting a path on how to get there. But when you are enduring that journey, those hurdles, those potholes, those speed bumps, those speed limits, you know, people trying to, you know, what is that called? Hitchhiking along the way with you, and they ain't even supposed to fit, you know, or the car breaking down when you're on your way in your journey. Like those unforeseen things that we could still manage, that creates a lot of stress, especially when different categories in your life are all happening at the same time, where it's putting out stress on you. You got stress at work. Your boss is acting like a pure tyrannosaurus. You know, your significant other keep reverting back to old behaviors that y'all agreed not to go back on. You know, it's like, why are we going backwards? Or, you know, if you have kids, it's like, now you want to act like a little demon. Like, this is not the time. Or if you're still taking classes, it's like, my professor is not listening, and I just feel like they're teaching the course how they want and not giving the knowledge that's necessary for us to receive. It could go on and on. Family, like I don't feel like my parent is listening to me, or I don't feel like I'm accepted or I'm properly assimilated into my family dynamic. It's a lot. It's a lot at one time, and we all have our limits, and that reaching those limits can show up, like how I was talking about earlier, your health. It could change your habits. Your sleep could be off. Your face, like I'm acne prone, so I have to make sure that everything that I do, it doesn't just cause my skin to go into a frenzy outside of normal hormonal stuff, because I'm a female, you know, I still have my monthly and stuff like that. So just being mindful of that. Eating habits, like when we're under a lot of stress, we can either significantly gain weight or significantly lose weight. I have no issue gaining weight, whether I like it or not. Unfair. Like some people, they just drop down to a stick, and I'm like, how? Tell me your secret. Oh, it's genetic. Yeah, I can't do nothing about that. Yeah. So I just got to figure my own thing out. But yeah, gaining weight, like my little phrase now is, y'all, this new body. And I say that even though I haven't had a procedure done or anything like that. Like, I'm natural. Like, I support my body. I love my body. It's still different fitting into different clothes now. And even if it's like an in-between thing, like I'm a small in my torso, but my arms are a medium. So it's like, if I wear a medium, now this part's a little baggy. Or if I wear a small, now this is like, you know, so that's a thing. That's a thing. So stress is so important to learn how to hone in on and maintain. Again, I got to wet my whistle. I already told y'all how this goes. This cup right here was a gift. Hold on, I'm going to sip first because I'm about to cough. Real people, real talk, real life, right? This ain't going to be perfect and cookie cutter, so I'm going to be coughing from time to time. Excuse me. Woo. I'm so grateful for my flavored ginger ale from Canada Dry. Thank you so much. It's the cranberry one. I'm telling y'all, if you don't like the cranberry flavor, you haven't tried it, I should say, get that cranberry flavor. My mug, my stemless wine glass that I'm drinking out of, I don't know if you can see it, but it has my name on it. It was made for me. My Easter Stars and I had a Christmas party. We do it every year. We had a Christmas party, and there were some gag gifts and also some take-home gifts, and that was one of them. So it has my name on it in that red and black checkered color. I can't think of that pattern to save my life. I have to Google it. I didn't want to Google it. I had too much pride. I want to try to remember. But anyway, off that tangent. So yeah, stress showing up like on your skin or your eating habits or your weight, you know, and it could also lead to catastrophic things. Like I've had relatives in my family, inclusive of my father, pass away due to stress related issues that have manifested. And when those things manifest, your lifestyle and your decision making play a part in that too. You know, what your next step is, if you don't take the right step, it could lead to you met the maker, you know. And why put your family through that? Why put yourself through that? But then again, hey, you the master of your fate, you the captain of your soul. So if you do things and you live on your own terms, hey, and to me, that's a reward in itself in a way. I know that might seem kind of like a dark statement, but I would rather have someone doing things with their own personal liberties and freedoms than to sit here and go through a whole life where everybody else is running their life. So, and that's a way of thinking positively in a negative situation, you know, so I don't get caught up in that. But anyway, so yeah, that's stress. Next, I want to go into loneliness. Adulting has been a very different experience for me entering into my 30s, specifically because everybody as a whole in every facet of my life is gone in one way or another. Meaning people are moving away, people are getting families or entering into long-term relationships with their significant others, or they're dying. I've had a lot of people from the time I was like in my mid-20s up until now simply pass away in my age range. People from my organizations and people that I've grown up with. And some of it is not explainable. It's not like, oh, this person was terminally ill. You know, it's like random. Like, oh, so-and-so just didn't wake up. What? So sleep ain't safe no more. Nothing. What is saved? Like literally what is saved? That is such a scary thing. And I have to pray before I go to sleep. I actually, like I told y'all in my last episode, I go straight to my prayer closet and I have my moment with the Lord. And when I wake up in the morning, I thank him, because it's like, it could have been me. Yesterday could have been that day. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. So that puts things into perspective, right? Where you really don't know the guarantees that we had. Like, I'm a 90s baby. The guarantees that we had of being able to say 5 years from now or tomorrow, next week, because you really don't know. You could be going to the grocery store, get capped off. You could be at work, something could collapse on you. Like, you could be driving wherever and someone took your life. It's so capricious, and not in a good way. When you have that level of uncertainty to where it's like, I can't even make plans. I mean, you can, but it's nerve-wracking, you know. So having that sense of I don't know what's next, and then not having a group of people to fall back on in person, not only can that bring on stress, but it heightens loneliness. And I say that because although I am very proud of my friends and my relatives that are transitioning into the next phase of their life, as far as, oh, they have a better paying job, like they're in their dream job now, so that's going to be more demanding of their time, or they're working on an issue that they had chosen not to overcome, and now they're taking those steps to work on themselves, which means if the more you work on yourself, you're not as much involved with things that are going on outside of you because you're readjusting your time. I'm happy about those transitional changes and stuff like that. And also for people that are now like engaged or married, got kids, or they had to move away for whatever reason. It's like, I understand the decisions that you have to make. Sometimes that makes me feel like, where does that leave me? Not that I'm not taking my steps, but when you are a very affectionate and communicative person, and you rely on you're not super dependent on it where that's the only thing that matters, but when you rely and value your relationships with people, and now those things are stunted as far as being in the physical, and you have to be on video or on the phone, and that's different, that can really weigh in. And it has. At one point, my mother and I, we were having a conversation, and she was like, you know, you don't have any adult friends. And I was like, huh? What you mean? Like, I'm an adult and I got friends. And she was like, no, as far as outside of people that you've gone to school with or that you've grown up with, you have not met any friends as an adult, especially that are female. Because I have a lot of male friends, like my besties and my I call them like my sis, like my besties and my sisters, that like my non-blood sisters, we're super close. And anytime someone new has tried to come in, they don't last. I'm not complaining about it. I got what I need. Women can be a whole nother way, and that could be Mars versus Venus, male female conversation for another episode. But to stay on track, I'm comfortable with where I'm at with the women in my life as far as who's close to me now. Now, granted, if the Lord welcomes someone else into the picture, you know, for me to have another lifelong friend, cool. But people are so seasonal nowadays. This one phrase somebody told me, they call them microwave microwave people, where they just need something from you all the time, or they want you to jump through hoops and check everything off their list first before they can even show up. And it's like, nah, I'm not doing that. Not doing that. It got to work for me too, right? This is not just the giving situation. Nah, it's some taking too. It's the even exchange, you know. So that loneliness set in with me a lot when it first began happening, because it wasn't something that I saw coming. Me deciding to move away from where I'm from in Chicago, by way of Glenwood, the South Chicago suburbs. I came to Atlanta in 2010 to go to college at Clark Atlanta, and having my entire social environment change, not only after college, but especially once I got into my 30s, that hit hard, because for 10 plus years, I formed bonds with these people. I had regular routines of hanging out in person with these people. And now it's like crickets, because mostly everyone is either moved away or they're super busy. And it's not to say, again, that I'm not busy, but your social calendar is severely impacted. And it's hard to link up with people. And people base the ability to hang out with you on things like gas or where you live at. Like, if you live too far, I don't know if I feel like making that trip, pimp. Because now we're older. When we were younger, give me a set of keys, I'm gone. Now there's more things to consider. I gotta work in the morning, or, you know, I just got off work, or I ain't, you know, handled the things in my house yet, you know, for me to be out this late. It's so many things to consider. And when all of that is coming to you at one time, and you have no one to talk to in person, like how my mom was saying, you don't have any adult friends, especially female friends. You need someone that you can identify with. That can make you very reclusive. And at one point I was, but what I did, which I did express to my therapist these concerns, and some suggestions that she had given me, coupled with my own, have worked. And those were, one, surround yourself with things that are very familiar to you. So I love Chicago. I love where I'm from. So if there's anything that I can do to surround myself with that, I'm doing that. Whether that's listening to some Chicago music, or even where it's following or joining groups on social media that are Chicago based. That way you're hearing people use the same terms and mannerisms that you grew up with. It's like, I identify with that. So that worked. Another thing was, using this time and looking at it as a blessing. I'm not alone as a punishment. I'm not by myself because this is how the rest of my life is going to be. This is a crushing period. This is a period where the grapes are being grinded down so that the wine can start. The grapes have to ferment after they're crushed down. So this period right now is essential because there's more to come that I'm going to have to endure, and I have to be ready to withstand whatever that comes with. That's how I had to look at it. I had to elevate and change my mindset, because knowing what I'm going through is one thing, but what I do with that, which is up to me, that's something else completely different. And the last thing that I did was I made attempts at trying to change my narrative in a healthy way. If I go out by myself all the time, ain't nothing gonna stop me. Meeting people and interacting with them, even if it doesn't really go anywhere after that, it's still a step. I'm still pushing that boundary of being closed off when I feel lonely, and I'm combating it with the opposite, right? Why? Give it a try. It doesn't hurt. So I challenge that to you. If you are feeling like how I felt and you want to overcome that, and you don't want to be by yourself, because we're humans. Naturally, we want to be around other people. I don't care what anyone says. If you are a loner and you're like, I don't need nobody in my life, one, it's a lie. And two, whoever hurt you, they did a good job. And three, when the right person shows up and holds you down and loves you, you're going to change your mind. It happens every time. Like, no matter what movie or what video or whatever we see, it happens. Like, so knock it off. Go out there and try it. There's a whole world out there for you to see. There's people for you to get to know. That's not to say that that's an easy thing to do right away. Sometimes we have to sit in what's bothering us and analyze it and understand why it's happening. I did that. I had to look at, well, so-and-so moved away because they lost a parent. So-and-so moved away because things weren't working in this city and they had a better job offer. So-and-so left because, they went and they're helping out so-and-so, which is all their business. I had to really look at that to be like, this is not my fault. I didn't do anything. And this is not a punishment. So instead of me taking this personally, now let me use this. Instead of, my aunt gave me this quote. She said, instead of looking at things as why are they happening to you, look at it as why is it happening for you? And I had to look at that. When I did, and my mindset changed, I'm like, oh, now I don't have as many things in the forefront of my mind to dedicate my mind and energy to. It's me now. Now I got this time to work on me. And I didn't have to ask for it. I didn't have to figure out how to carve that time out. It showed up for me. Look at God. So now I have more time to focus on my business, to push out some more art motifs, to really just delve deep into Tatiana and work on herself, to connect with people who I haven't connected with because more of my time was wrapped up with other people, to spend more time with my dog, like redecorate my house. Those things show up. So I challenge anybody who can relate to this and that's dealing with loneliness to find a way to fix it. Examine your life. I would say write it down or pray about it or whatever, and really commit to it. And just know there's multiple ways to fix it, because there's different ways of being lonely. Like even if you're lonely in your job, that I know firsthand. Before I quit my job, I was lonely in my department, not only because I was the only person in that department, but I was also the only one there with no kids, no husband or significant other, and I was the only one in that age. Yeah. So a lot of conversations people weren't really trying to have with me, or they'll be like, oh, well, you don't understand because da da da. Shut up, sis. Shut up. And me knowing, okay, this is the environment that I'm in, I had to look at that like, I'm different. I'm different. I am cut from a different cloth, or my narrative right now is set aside from everyone else for a reason. At first I took it negatively, but then when I changed my mindset, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm younger than most of these people in the same environment they're in a management position, and I don't really have anything to get in my way. Not to say that a relationship or kids get in the way, but all I have to focus on is me. Okay, I'm gonna take that. Yep, and y'all can have my resignation letter. And that's not the reason why I left, but that was definitely something that I know I was also leaving that behind too, was that sense of loneliness in the workplace. And you can feel lonely in your family too. Like if you're the type of person where your character traits are significantly different than that of your other relatives, you're gonna feel alone in that, you know. And that's not to say that there should always be some sense of clashing, but value those differences. Okay, I'm different, so what? We still family. We still got to fight for each other. And that's that. You know, no one else can say that we're related like this by blood on paper. So let's just accept our differences, love on those differences, because we're different individuals and we lead our own lives for a reason. Why allow that to cause turmoil? If anything, being exposed to newer or varying values, ideologies, and differences, it can help you grow and be a better person. So why shy away from that? But that's all about mindset. Once again, you can even feel alone in your relationship because your communication is broken or you guys are not on the same page. You can feel broken in your friendships because if it's a majority rule thing and you're always on the opposite of the majority rule, you can feel like a castaway. It shows up so many ways, especially now in this age range, that not saying that I agree, but I understand why people are so frustrated all the time or why they are so disconnected. But you got to tap back in. You got to resolve it, because isolating yourself or being fake on social media, knowing you really don't live that life, it's going to catch up with you, whether you like it or not. That's just how life is set up. So when life be lifing, you got to come through. You have to come through. So taking those tools, and even with the stress thing, you know, like doing things to help you exude that stress. Like I know there's a room down here in Atlanta called the break room where you can just trash stuff and just let that anger out. Do that. Like do those things. So now this segue into the last one, I feel like is the biggest and it's the most ongoing, and that's change. To sit here and say you have to be susceptible to change, yes, it's true, but it can be so complicated depending on what it is. And it also is very contradictory because we are programmed and have a appreciation for planning. Yes, we have spontaneity and we like to take risks as human beings. However, we like routines. We like to know I can go to Chick-fil-A because they got the best sweet tea. Hands down. You know, it's not it's not unfathomable to think that. But then because we're programmed this way, life is still lifing. Things are changing. Things are moving. You have to be able to adjust. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What do you mean my rent went up like $200? Make that make sense to me. What do you mean y'all are closing down the job site and now you telling me I got a month to figure it out? What do you mean I'm putting my key in my ignition and my car ain't starting and I only have one vehicle and I don't got nobody else to help me? No. What do you mean I had left my hair in too long and now all my hair got to get cut out? Yeah, I'm over it. And not to say that all of those things happen to me, but just from conversations that I've had with my peers, going through these changes, or I didn't know I was gonna have this baby by this person, or whatever. Change can be as beautiful as we make it, or it could be as chaotic as we make it. Not only is it about mindset, but it's about willpower. You got to endure, because if you don't, you're gonna succumb to it, and it's not going to be pretty. And sometimes that's necessary so that you can learn how to not do that again. I had to learn that. And it changes in people too. Changes in the connections that I have. Being open, even if I'm uncomfortable with it, being open to what is happening to you, it is key, because that to me is the first step in healing. I know that when my life took a big change in 2022, losing my father, and then 30 days later, my 5-year relationship ended. And then 30 days after that, a person that I used to be really close with just decided to walk away on our friendship. It's like, okay, it's a lot of change going on right now. And processing all of this is already enough in itself, which can lead to stress. And having these people leave my life, which can be a lonely thing to endure. How am I supposed to navigate this change? Why do I have to navigate this change? Because I'm still in the race. I'm still in life, fighting. I'm in the land of the living. That's why, whether I like it or not, I could sit up here and say this comfortably today. But rewind to 2022, oh child. Honey, nah. Dark place. But a necessary evil. It was, because it showed me a lot of things. When you're going through change, it shows you how to really look at people and take them for what they are, and not for what you wish they could have been, or what they telling you that they are. It's like, nah, you doing this, but this is doing something else. Yeah, nah, so I'm going to go with what you showing me and not what you tell me. Your words don't mean nothing no more. Action. Yeah. It's also put me in a mindset to, be tougher, but also to be more discerning of what I need to feed into and what I don't. Change is going to happen anyway. And it's also put me in a position to want to create even more change for myself. Because if change can happen on things that I can't control, then what can I change that I have the power to control? If it's something that I don't like in my life, I can fix that. It could be a very empowering thing to know I can do that. I can do that. That's mine. I can take that on. I can fix it. So let me do it. I'm going to do it. That comes with a lot of work, a lot of patience, and trust. Self-trust. That's a key thing in all 3 components of what I've been talking about today, with stress, with loneliness, and with change. Self-trust has to show up for you. When I decided to really trust in myself unconditionally, it affected how I maneuvered my stress, how I identified with my loneliness, and how I am able to navigate through my changes. When I am hit with a circumstance that is either foreign or unfavorable to me, instead of me having this shut down or freeze mentality, I'm thinking, my mind is going. I'm able to process it. I'm able to look at, okay, what do I need to gain from this situation that I have no control over? Or with the things that I do have control over, okay, how can I break this big picture down to smaller digestible pieces so that I can take the next step each time, regardless of what else comes up in my life? I know that I can still remain on task. I know that I can still get there. You know what I mean? Because life is not going to stop. People are still going to continue to grow and do what they need to do. So knowing that you have to, it's a must. It could be as motivating as you make it, right? Like for me, I know that one change I controlled was me quitting my job, because I'm looking at it like I have 3 degrees, 2 are masters, 1 is an MBA. On paper, I qualify for almost any job I want. Do I have the job I want? No, I don't. In fact, only 1 in 10 people in the US is working in their dream job right now. I'm a part of that 9 for now. But that's something that I know I can change. When you know your worth, and when you know how you show up and what you can do, you move different. You're okay with quitting a job and making that decision. You're okay with cutting ties with a person. You're okay with finagling or getting through a moment that pops up that you didn't foresee coming. Change. All of those things are pivotal points of change. You got to get through it. And in a way, that's when it's a time for you to counteract being lonely. Because when you're undergoing change, you either have to reach out for a resource or an outlet, or both. I have. When I'm going through a change and I know, okay, I know I'm an expert on my life, but there's an aspect in this situation where it's not my wheelhouse, and that's okay. I reach out to who I know I can rely on to give me whatever credible source I need in that moment, whether that's advice or if it's some type of professional service or whatever have you. I utilize that. And that's a sign of the conversion from existing to living. Living things change. And if you want your outlook to be different, you have to be different. You have to. If you don't want to be in that 71% of people in America that are between the ages of 28 to 37 that feel like they're lonely, change it. If you don't want to develop hypertension and severe high blood pressure due to stress, change it. If you want to come out stronger and not succumb to the things that are happening around you as life continues to change, change it. Sounds easy. It's not. I would be so wrong if I said that it was easy. If I said that it is something that you can do quickly. It's not. Again, I'm speaking to you fast forward a year and a half after some catastrophes, okay? And to be able to sit up here and do that, that's a big reward. That's a positive outcome of the stress I had to undergo, the loneliness I had to endure, and the change that was inevitable. Why? Because as life is lifing, people are also making their own conscious decisions on what they need to do. And sometimes that can have a negative impact on your life, whether they realize it or care or not. And that can come off as a very bitter tasting pill to swallow. When you're undergoing these aspects of adulting, it can play a part in how you connect with other people and ultimately how you connect with yourself. Because Layla, because you can fold. The mind is so sensitive and so impactful that any decision that you make can be the next best or worst thing. That's just how it is. So you have to train your mind to navigate yourself through these aspects of adulting. And I'm not sitting here limiting adulting and how life be lifing to just stress, changes and loneliness. It's so multi-layered, but a lot of it falls into those big three. It does. So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about your responses when something hits you. A lot of us can tend to operate out of a trauma response or just our general makeup, because this is how we were born and bred. This is how I'm going to execute this emotion or this action. But if you're experiencing something that's not working for you, you have to figure out, okay, do I play a part in that? Sometimes we do. A lot of times we do. And if we don't play a part in it, we can alter our mindset so that we know how to overcome it or avert it or prevent it. And that is power. That is a breakthrough. That is evolution in your own life. I think it's beautiful. It has its dark, twisted moments. It does. But what you can do with it, the endless possibilities, what you want, you can have. You just have to put in the work. It's not going to be given to you. You're not going to just wake up and then everything's just going to click in place. Sorry, sweetie. No, boo. It's not. No. So now that you know, and nobody was going to tell you, Tati told you. Hashtag that. Tati told you. But get up. Figure it out. Take it from somebody who has taken that step already and will continue to take that step, because there's more life out there that I haven't experienced yet. And whether I'm ready for it or not, I gotta go through it. It is what it is. So I leave you guys with that. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in on today's episode of Life Be Lifing. Coping with adulting. How to navigate through that stress, endure that loneliness, and just really handle the changes that life throw at you and the changes that we choose to make for ourselves. Go get those goals. Go get those goals. You chose your goals. Go get them. They're there. They're waiting on you. Buy that house. Take that new job. Quit your old job. Say yes to that person that has been longing for you and you know you want them back. If you want to have that kid, have that kid. You want to sell off something, sell it off. But go do it. It's okay. It's okay. Whether you succeed at it or not, it's okay. Because if you don't succeed, you have an opportunity to try again. And if you do succeed, you won. So either way, you win it, because you're not operating in no situation of regret to where you can't even say you didn't try. And when you really look at stuff and you look at people, you really realize everybody just out here trying. If you really just looked at a person, like I don't care if you're at the grocery store and you just look at a person, like really, after a few seconds, you start peeling back those layers and you like, they eat and go to the bathroom and sleep just like I do. They human too. Everybody just out here trying. Everybody out here got some type of trauma. Everybody out here got triumphs. Trying, trauma, triumph. And a lot of times it happens in that order. When you try, sometimes there's some, trauma before your triumph. So I'm going to leave you on that note. My next episode will be out in a week. I do post every week, and I would love for you to tune in. If you're watching this on YouTube, please click to like and subscribe to my channel. Leave me any comments. If you are listening to this on Amazon or the podcast on Apple or even Google Podcasts. I didn't know they had that, but my channel is now available on that as well. Please tune in. Please follow my channel, because I know that these types of conversations are very needed. And when you feel like no one can get on the same page with you or be in tune with what's going on in your head, just know, false. I'm here. I got you. Tati told you, just come talk to Tot. Come talk to Tot. Because this is all about real people, real talk, real life. The conversations that I'm going to be having are going to be a lot more in depth as we go. You just got to grow with me. Be patient with me as I navigate putting this content out here, because again, I'm self-taught, but I do appreciate it in the same tone. So with that, I leave you with peace and good tidings. Take care of yourself, love yourself, cherish yourself, heal yourself. Okay? Bye-bye for now.